Shabbat Shalom. I wonder if Fulton County knew that it was Parashat Shoftim and planned on the calendar they would announce indictments this week so that rabbis would have something to talk about on Shabbat. And maybe it really shouldn't be news, as this is Trump's fourth indictment. Maybe it should be news because the 41-count indictment can't be pardoned by the sitting president. Maybe it should be news because it involved racketeering charges. If you are of one political persuasion, it was news because you finally exhaled and said, yes, justice should be served. If you are another political persuasion, you were concerned, even though you were chanting 6 years ago, lock her up. You were concerned because Trump's supporters said, look what's happening in this country. This is a reminder that this could happen to any of us. And maybe really that's the point, right? It can happen and should happen to any of us because no one is above the law. And when I talk about the coincidence of Parashat Shoftim, I mean, really that's what the beginning of the Parsha tells us. The idea that we're told, Shoftim v'shotrin titen lecha b'chol sharecha, that we should appoint judges and officials in all of our gates, for all of our tribes. These are intentionally separate distinctions, lest those in positions of power try to act and serve as judges, try to pursue and expound justice for their own sake. The Torah is very clear that those in positions of authority and those who have the humbling and burdensome responsibility to pursue justice are separate and distinct. And so, when those who are in positions of authority, when those who are officials strive to skew justice for their own causes, we're reminded that they must be separate. And yes, it can and should thus happen to any of us, even those with the highest office in the land. But it's also an important reminder, what is not a coincidence, I believe, is that we read Shoftim during this period, these 7 weeks between Tisha B'Av and Rosh Hashanah, these 7 weeks when we read Haftarot and Nechemta, when we read these Haftarot of consolation that are meant to prepare us, our minds, our bodies, our souls for Rosh Hashanah. And just now, as we entered this week, yesterday was Rosh Hashanah, was the very first day of Elul. We enter this month meant for introspection, for self-reflection, a month in which we are supposed to focus on Cheshbon HaNefesh, an accounting of our souls, an accounting of ourselves, a month in which we're supposed to focus on who we are, what we have done wrong, what we have done right, and how we can be better versions of ourselves in 5784 in the new year, which is just weeks from now. So maybe seeing somebody who's in a position of authority indicted is also an important reminder for each of us as we go through this process of Cheshbon HaNefesh. Because there are those of us in this room that are all too often too hard on ourselves. Right? There are those of us in this room that only focus on the things that we've done wrong, that sit with that pit in our stomachs, that guilt throughout the holiday season, and can't let go of it. Myself included at times. And there are also those of us in this room, myself included at times, that never really are willing to acknowledge when we do something wrong. That come up with excuse after excuse. That say, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. And I like to think, right, we are a community of people who strive to do good. Right? We're not graded, though, on a bell curve of what it means to do right and wrong. We're really graded based on ourselves, only based on who we are, who we can be, and who we strive to be. So Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav taught that we read Shoftim leading up to Rosh Hashanah because Shoftim, the Shotrim, really refers to our own personal and inner self-judging. Refers to how we judge ourselves and how we judge other people. And Bechol Sharecha, even though that can be translated as in a multitude of ways, literally in all of your gates, Rabbi Nachman refers to gates as what's literally, right? Why would the judges sit at the gates of a city and a community? Because that is where people entered and exited. And so what does it mean to judge ourselves at our gates? It is how we interact with each other and how people interact with us. Our gates are what leaves our body and what comes into our body. Right? Our gates are the words that we say and put out into this world. Our gates are our actions towards one another. Our gates is that which we put into our body, thoughts, or food, or that which we may have a tendency to be addicted to that are unhealthy for us. Shoftim, v'shotrim, ten lecha b'chol sharecha. To have judges at your own gates means, according to Rabbi Nachman, that during this month of Elul, we spend this month being a judge at our gates, being aware of what we let in, what affected us and impacted us over this past year positively and negatively, and what we put out into this world positively and negatively, how we judge ourselves, and how God, in the weeks to come, on Yom Hadin, will judge us. May we be careful. May we be more aware. May we not be so hard on ourselves. May we be harder on ourselves. May we strive to be our own judge, our own official. And as we're told, tzedek tzedek tirdof, may we pursue that personal justice, that personal judging and accounting of our souls, which is never easy, but necessary as we prepare for the new year. Shabbat Shalom.